Oh, God. Honestly, this is bad. This is so bad. For a kickoff, we're going to have to listen to Clarissa Shields come out and say she thinks she can beat Alexander Usyk now. That's before we even get to Tyson Fury doing that video where he's jogging going, "You little rabbit, I'm coming for you." You had 2 fucking chances, mate. Stop talking about it. Right. And look, this is why whenever Turki Al-Sheikh makes a fight, I'm always like, you know what? I'm just going to see how this one plays out. I'm not going to write this off. He's made a few fights that are eyebrow raisers, and then you watch them and you go, yeah, I need to just shut up and let's see how this goes. Because from the outside looking in, this was a circus fight. I mean, they literally put it in front of the fucking pyramids, for Christ's sake. It looked amazing, by the way. Like, I think this might have been the best looking one they've done yet. It had that gladiator feel. And Rico Verhoeven, he brought that gladiator energy. Because we seen a kickboxer who, yes, has boxed for a long time and sparred many boxers for over a decade, I think. But a kickboxer still give Alexander Usyk the hardest fight of his career. Now, is it a coincidence that Alexander Usyk's hardest fight of his career is happening when he's 39 years old and he's been in a lot of big, hard fights against much bigger men? Probably not, right? We're going to get into the weeds of this as to, was this how bad Usyk looked or how good Rico Verhoeven was? And was this actually a robbery, as some people are saying? And also the after-fight narrative as well, like, because now Alexander Usyk is getting trashed so bad. There's Jake Paul's tweeting out. I'm going to go through a lot of tweets that I disagree with on many levels. But before I get into that, I have to give a big shout out to today's sponsor, Young LA. I wear them all the time. Obviously, if you see me working out on Instagram videos and all that, I'm always wearing their gear. I've been wearing them for long before I was sponsored by them. They make you look good and they make you feel good. And with my code, you can get 15% off when you use code TRUE, TRUE, all block capitals, all one word, TRUE, at checkout. Big love to Young LA. The gear is class. Check it out. Get your 15% off and use my code. So this is how Rico Verhoeven came out swinging. And I mean, it was different. It was that 1920s, why I order. You know, you see these like old dads in the movies. Like, it was a bit like that. And fuck me, he looked massive in there. And he looked shredded. It's very rare you see a fighter that big, 260 pounds. I mean, you could see his back muscles and everything. The amount of definition was a joke. This is the thing that I think people overlook a bit. But this is one of the biggest, strongest, and fittest heavyweights we've ever seen, actually. And that's the thing that people underestimate in the boxing world, I think, in terms of the heavyweight division, is so much of heavyweight fighting is on pure, raw athleticism. And these fighters, like your Francis Ngannou's, Rico Verhoeven's, Tom Aspinall's, they're more athletic than some of your heavyweight boxers are. Let's be real here, and I'm not just saying this to have a go at Tyson Fury, but Tyson Fury's body type. Would he last 2 seconds in a cage where you've got to wrestle? There's more meat on me Sunday dinner, man. He's all fat. It's his skeletal frame, his structure. There's very little physical strength. I've watched this guy lift weights. It's pathetic, right? There's some serious athletes out there. God knows what the NFL would deliver if they all picked up the pair of boxing gloves. And this is why at the heavyweight level, people can't jump into boxing and cause problems, as Francis Ngannou's already taught us. Now, the thing is with Alexander Usyk, he always had the antidote for these big guys because of his IQ, his movement, his stamina, his constant pressure. But interestingly, he came into this fight about 10 pounds heavier than what we usually see him at. And I think maybe there was an air of confidence of, you know what, I'm going to be bigger and stronger in this. I'm going to plant my feet earlier and I'm going to get him the fuck out of there, because logically, this guy skill-wise shouldn't be able to live with me in there. But in adding on those extra pounds, it slows the feet down, it slows the reflexes, it slows your ability to push the fucking pace, which is how Alexander Usyk drains his opponent's gas tanks and then takes advantage of it. And the thing that just blew me away about this fight, other than Usyk coming in and not in his optimum shape for me, was Rico Verhoeven, for the size of him, was so fucking fit, it's a joke. To be that big, that defined, and that fit, mate, he started so quickly. That's what people are frightened to do with Alexander Usyk. The reason why Tyson Fury gets put on the back foot against Alexander Usyk is because he's not wanting to rush and go blow for blow. He's trying to conserve energy because he knows down the stretch Usyk's going to have that energy and he's scared to use his all up. I said time and time again about the likes of AJ and Fury. You need to treat this like a 5-6 round fight and go out there and fucking stick it on him and have that confidence and belief in yourself himself and be unafraid to die in there in order to get the win. And what I will say about Rico Verhoeven that really impressed me was that inner belief was there from the get-go. Far more than Tyson Fury, especially in the rematch. Fury went in there to survive that rematch. The difference in attitude to Rico Verhoeven, considering, I mean, it isn't that surprising because to be a kickboxing legend, you've got to be a bad motherfucker. But to still have that same mindset in a different sport when you know you should be outskilled, really impressive. And look, I'm going to tell you how I scored the rounds, by the way, but in that first round, the speed of foot from Rico Verhoeven and the aggression to keep getting his lead foot on the outside of Usyk, closing that distance, circling away from the power hand of Usyk. There was so much he was doing, so much right with what he was doing. Really fucking impressed me. Just the whole demeanor. Yeah, the shape was a bit fucking mental, but he never stopped fucking moving. How often do we see someone in there with Usyk who's moving more aggressively, quicker than him, who's fainting and twitching more than he is? How many people have even got the fucking gas tank or the balls to do that? Because that's wasted energy if you don't get the reactions, and later on that's going to cost you. He bet on himself, this guy. Massive respect. And technically, if you look at the way he was hunched over and you look at how he kept his hands up and his chin tucked right down, yes, he wasn't making the most of his height and his reach in terms of like trying to out jab Usyk, but what he did do was he made him harder to hit. And if you look at the way Fury and Dubois have been when they've took clean shots of him, or AJ, those taller guys, they're often in habits of doing that, you know? It's just a natural reaction, even for the elite boxers sometimes, that they're told to just try and put their hand out. Rico never did that. And while the uppercut was open for him because of the way he was hunched over, a lot of other shots weren't quite connecting the way you usually... I mean, the jab for a start, fuck me. I normally see Usyk fucking land a jab at will on people. I mean, fucking Dubois didn't know where the hell he was getting hit from. So I gave Rico the first round. I was really impressed with just the way he came out and approached the fight. Second round, I gave to Usyk. And I think at that point for a lot of people, and I think this goes for a lot of the rounds, people were like, wow, this guy is doing a lot better than we thought. And I think that narrative can sway what you're saying in your head sometimes. Like, when someone's coming forward and just putting any kind of pressure on, whether they're really connecting or not, it's almost like, wow, fucking hell, like people don't really do this to Usyk. So what he is doing is having more of an impressive impact on your mind when you're watching it. The reality is, if you watch round two again, he got picked apart and Usyk was outboxing him in that round, in my opinion. He landed the cleaner shots. Round three, I gave to Rico, and this was quite a good back and forth round. And the one thing I really liked about Rico here is he had a nice shot that landed early, then Usyk came back. But what he started to do was to throw at the exact same time as Usyk did. Now, when I've sparred with people higher level than me, that's what I always do, because it gives you a fucking fighting chance, right? It gives you a prayer of them being open. Otherwise, when you're trying to catch people who are a higher level than you telegraph, right? They read you too easily. So gambling can have a fucking good impact, but it takes balls, because you got to be not afraid to be hit. And if we look at the way, for example, Tyson Fury fought Usyk in that second fight, he was very wary after what happened to him in that first fight, whereas Rico was showing balls here. And the thing that Usyk wasn't showing was that high output. I was stunned at, like, where's the feinting? Where's the jabs? Where's the footwork? Where is the Alexander Usyk that we've been watching all this time? Round four, I gave to Alexander Usyk. I thought Usyk really hurt him in this round. This was the first time in the fight that we really seen Rico get checked, and it was lovely work from Usyk on the back foot, just letting shots go. And we seen the skill difference in that moment. And that was when I was like, yeah, this is the beginning of the end here. You know, this is where he takes over. And it wasn't. Rico recovered well, finished the round stronger than what I expected. And I thought, wow, you've put me some respect on the name here. And that was the beginning of me being like, holy shit. Like, because the first three rounds, yeah, you can trade rounds. That was when I thought, oh, okay then, this isn't going how I expected. Round five, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people will disagree as these rounds go on because of the way the internet's reacted, I gave to Usyk. Now, the thing about this round five, was Rico Verhoeven was doing a lot of movement, a lot of fucking, he was all over the shot, wasn't he? And a lot of aggressive movement and a lot of charging into him, but not a lot of clean shots landing. And like, when I first watched this, sipping on me whiskies, fuck knows how many at that point, I was probably in that, Rico Verhoeven's winning this round. Watching it this morning, I'm like, no, Usyk was getting the cleaner shots in round five, in my opinion. And at that point, I had him 3-2 up. Still fucking impressive. Still very competitive. Round six, I gave to Rico. 3-3 at that point. I'm like, okay, Usyk's flat. He's not letting the shots go. There's no jab again. It's ironic. He was digging out Fabio Wardley for the lack of a jab. I'm not saying he didn't jab at all, but like, where's your jab, son? And don't get me wrong, round 6 was hard to score, but I edged it for Rico. Round 7, similar round, very close. It wasn't like a wide where one person was majorly the aggressor. Gave it to Usyk though. I thought Usyk edged that round. And this is where maybe people will disagree round 6 and 7. And look, fair play if you do. This is just the way I honestly scored the fight. This isn't bias. I hope you can see I'm excited about this fight. I'm not trying to sway it one way or the other. It's just how I seen it. That fucking shot there in round 8 was one of the best shots I've seen anyone hit Usyk with. And the follow-up right hook there that lands right on the chin. Those 2 shots in consecutive, sequences. 2 of the best shots to ever be landed on Alexander Usyk. And I think the go-go gadget arms of Rico Verhoeven, he's got such a long fucking reach combined with the slower feet of Usyk. That's what enabled that fucking amazing moment for Rico. That was when I was like, oh shit, we really do have a fucking problem here, like. And actually, it impressed me how Usyk ended. He actually hurt Rico before this sequence. He hurt him with a nice shot. He ended that round quite strong, Usyk, after getting clipped quite badly. And I think we always talk about the skill and all of these things that Usyk has at his disposal, but actually the chin and the heart. This man is consistently fighting men way bigger than him, and he's getting hit now with his slower feet more than ever, and this guy has a fucking chin on him. Round 9 I did not think was a good round to watch. It was scruffy, it was a lot of scuffed shots, not a lot of clean work, but because of the pressure, I again gave it to Rico. Going into the 10th round, I had it 5-4 to Rico. This is when I've watched it sober this morning. Round 10, Usyk starts well. I think he knew, like, I need to get going here. And Rico Verhoeven then starts putting the pressure on again. He slips a couple of shots in through the guard of Usyk. And Usyk really starts letting his hands go at this point. He's on the back foot. He's letting that uppercut go. He's letting that hook go behind it. And he lands brilliantly. And this was the second time in the fight where we've seen Rico Verhoeven really shaky. He's not looking good at that point. He wasn't ready to go, but Usyk had him going at that towards the end of round 10. So after round 10, I'm 5-5 at that point on the scorecards. 11th round, Usyk lets his hands go, and actually, he connects on Rico Verhoeven early in round 11, and I don't think people realize actually he was damaged from the last round, but then again early in round 11, and they had a point where they clinched a bit, and Usyk sort of shoves him off, and Rico Verhoeven's, his legs are dodgy well before he takes the fucking uppercut. He got cracked before the uppercut, and that's sort of, he got him going even more after round 10. And that is why, when Rico was trying to put the pressure on in the 11th round, he's sloppy with it. He's not as coordinated as he's been earlier, because A, he's getting tired, but B, he was getting hurt as well before the uppercut lands. Then the uppercut lands. Then he really is fucked. And I'm not saying this to change the narrative, but this whole thing about Usyk was getting the fuck beaten out of them. Just count them so far. Round 4, round 10, round 11, wobbly legs from Rico Verhoeven. There was no point in that fight that Alexander Usyk was on wobbly legs. Was he taking shots? Was he getting out fought at points? Was he getting out worked at points? Absolutely he was. There was only one man who's getting seriously hurt in this fight though, and it was Rico Verhoeven 3 separate fucking times. We'll look at it here again on the back foot. This is why he's so sloppy, Verhoeven. Yeah, he's so much sloppier, and he takes it right on the fucking chin. Down, and the referee, this is the mad thing. The referee gives him the count here, and I counted it. He spat his gum shield out, obviously, which is a clever thing to do. He's trying to buy time. I get it. They gave him 20 seconds added on from what he should have had before the restart. 20 fucking seconds. So when we're talking about a robbery, when a referee's trying to rob you, they don't give you an extra 20 seconds. I'm not saying, this was a good stoppage, bad stoppage. We're not even getting to that yet. But this robbery conspiracy, I just think this referee, if you think he did the wrong thing, is incompetent, because he gave him 20 fucking seconds to gather his thoughts before having to go in and fight, when he should have been shoved straight into the fucking fire. And in which case, he might have gotten flattened. When a referee's trying to sway the decision one way, he wants that to happen, allegedly. Well, then he would have just made him get out there and fight quicker. Verhoeven here, when he has to walk again, the guy is wobbly, by the way. We don't get the full thing, but you see, he can barely walk properly there at all. We're talking about Alexander Usyk here. If you're in that state, you're vulnerable, So that 20 seconds, it would have made a big difference, especially when you've got 10 seconds to the end of the round, you get another minute. That could have helped them a big time. potentially. So all I'm saying is the referee wasn't exactly helping out Usyk in that moment, was he? 20 fucking seconds he had before the restart here. And even still, he couldn't throw a single punch back. Not one. Just getting absolutely smacked all over here in the corner. Now, is this an early stoppage? Considering the way the fight's gone, considering he's made it to the bell, I think it was after the bell. There's no way he should stop that fight there. There's no way that this fight should be over based on that. But I've seen worse stoppages. The fact that he didn't throw a fucking single shot back, and I think, was it 9 unanswered shots? All right, so we got the shot counter here for you lot. Backhand, there's 1 unanswered. Let's see what realistic this is scored. Right hook, scuffed. Those two were scuffed. That was a good shot. The right hook behind it, 4, 5, and the backhand again. 5th shot, I wouldn't count that one. I wouldn't count number 6. 7, good shot. 8 in, 9 uppercut, 10. I think a couple of those didn't land that clean. But again, when you're not throwing a single punch back and you're getting taking that many shots, I understand that by the book, officially why that was stopped. But given the circumstances, given the fact that it's a world title fight, given the fact that this guy is very close on the scorecards, arguably many people had him up on the scorecards, proper bad stoppage. That said, I think Alexander Usyk was going to fucking smoke him in round 12 because he'd already hurt him in round 10. He dropped him in round 11. This was going one way, by the way. And anyone who thinks otherwise, I don't know what the fuck is watching. Is there a possibility that it wasn't going to go that way? A Herculean effort, maybe, but the fight was trending in that direction. That's not up for debate, in my opinion. And he was getting hurt worse and worse with every round. This idea that Alexander Usyk was getting battered and landed a lucky uppercut is absolute bullshit. Like, it's absolute bullshit. And this is why I'm so glad I've got a YouTube channel, because I just like to give a level-headed fucking approach. I get we're all excited. You know, when you're watching the fight live, you don't watch it back when you're sober, which is important. We can all get carried away. And I'm not saying Usyk fought well by any means, but round 10, he hurt him badly. At beginning of round 11, he was stumbling him. End of round 11, he hits the fucking deck. Are you really going to tell me this guy was battering Alexander Usyk? Is that what we're saying? Is that what we're doing, is it? And you know what? This is where unconscious bias comes into it, and people just want to, you know, and they get overly impressed by an effort that was unexpected. Verhoeven absolutely pushed Alexander Usyk, and it was an amazing effort against an Usyk that isn't the Usyk he used to be. But let's not act like Alexander Usyk was getting battered. Look at their faces after the fight, man. So I had Usyk up on the scorecards, and I think he was going to stop the fight in round 12 anyway. But it is still controversial because Rico Verhoeven deserved to be able to go the distance and give it and go out on his shield. If he's going to get knocked out, knock me out then. That's what he said after the fight. Respect him for that. Especially when you look at how Fabio Wardley was able to go on and on and on. And that's the problem with boxing, is there is no consistency, and that's why people feel this is a fix or this is rigged, because you see so much ridiculousness from these fucking referees. I totally get that, by the way. And to try and answer the question, is this because Usyk was really bad, or is this because Verhoeven was really good? Alexander Usyk has been on the decline for ages. I've been saying it to the Pain Game lads for ages. I said to them, the first version of Anthony Joshua Alexander Usyk was the best heavyweight I think I've ever seen in my life. He never stopped moving around the fucking ring, man. Fucking AJ was fucking struggling like fuck with it. Usyk against Tyson Fury, it was a slower version of himself, because realistically, his style is a youthful style, like Mike Tyson's style, all of that fucking bob and weave and all of that athleticism. It was a youthful style. It's not the same style, obviously, but the footwork, the constant movement, the constant feinting and twitching, the level of energy that requires from an engine, and the reflexes and the twitching that he does, they're all things that fade quicker than what stays the longest, which is power, strength, that sort of shit. So when Alexander Usyk has done unbelievably well to remain as athletic as he has into the age that he is, which is 39 years old. And people look at him going, he was always shit. Imagine, right, Wayne Rooney, for example. Look at him now. He's fucking 1 year older than Alexander Usyk. Say, go on, then go and play out there with a Premier League footballer. See how you get on. He'd be fat and fucking slow, wouldn't he? It's very hard to maintain that elite level of athleticism later in your career. And some fighters are blessed with genetics that just burn out quicker, like Mike Tyson was. And unfortunately, fighters just lose their skills, they lose their freshness, and that's when you need to retire before a fighter who in your prime couldn't fuck with you, couldn't even get near you, catches you. And that's what Usyk is now in danger of doing. We say if this guy can come in there and you can struggle with him, there ain't much longer left. And look, we heard him talk about his daughter back home being rushed into a bomb shelter, and you're thinking, fuck me. Like, I mean, how can any man go in and take on the professional fighter with that in the back of the head? I think there was a multitude of things that went wrong in his mind for this fight as well. Not having any footage on Rico Verhoeven, that couldn't have fucking helped. What you're studying, he's a fucking kickboxer. There is no boxing footage, really. I actually think the rematch for that reason would probably go a lot better for Alexander Usyk, but I think he should just retire anyway. As for Rico Verhoeven, one thing I thought was really amusing was the fact that he had Peter Fury in his corner, the uncle of Tyson Fury, the guy who trained Tyson Fury many years ago, and before he won his first world title, arguably the best version of Tyson Fury we ever seen, the mover. And I think there was a fallout. People have said it was over money. Who the fuck knows? But it's a shame because Peter Fury, a lot unlike John Fury, he's nothing like John. He's a lot calmer, very measured man, very intelligent man. No offense, John. I think John is quite intelligent, to be fair, but you know, he's a fucking lunatic, whereas Peter is a lot calmer, and he's a great boxing coach, and he masterminded a very tricky, situation for Usyk to have to figure out, and he caught Usyk on an off day, on a day where clearly age is playing a part. But I just wonder if Tyson Fury, after how, poorly he performed at times, in my opinion, in those fights where he got knocked all over by Usyk, let's be honest, and he didn't even show up for the second fight. If he was looking, thinking, if I just stuck with my own blood, I would have had a better chance. Because I really think that. 100%. Now, before I go, let's take a look at some of the influencers' takes on this fight. Jake Paul said, I love you, Usyk, but you should never feel like you won this fight. Embarrassing. No offense, right? Like, Jake, I like him a lot. I think he's been great for boxing, but for him to call anything that's ever involved Alexander Usyk embarrassing, the level of greatness Alexander Usyk has shown us over the years, and he has one close fight where he knocks the guy on his fucking arse before getting an unfair stoppage, but literally gets the fucking, the killer blow towards the end of the fight, still ends up on top in the fight, and yet he's called embarrassing for being happy that he won a fight. Rico was winning every round, according to Jake, and the moment the ref sees an opportunity to end it, he just ends it. I'm the biggest Usyk fan, but you lost that shit. Shout out to Rico for beating his ass every round and getting gypped. I mean, that's just not true. It's just not even true, in my opinion. Respect to Jake, massively disagree with him. There was a lot of chat about Muhammad Ali, because everyone's obviously getting annoyed about Usyk and how he's been called the greatest of all times, but people who love Muhammad Ali are getting their digs in now. Like, see, you never talk about him in the same sense as Muhammad Ali. I love Muhammad Ali. He's one of the greatest of all time. But he had a generation. He had his own era. And boxing has evolved so much since that era. The lack of defense. There's so many things that are going on. Alexander Usyk would have really beaten the living hell out of Muhammad Ali. I'm sorry, because without Muhammad Ali, we wouldn't have Alexander Usyk. Do you understand? The building blocks had to be there. Fighters like Muhammad Ali had to pave the way, learn the lessons, show what works, show what doesn't work. The sport was not the sport it is now. It's like taking a fucking 100-meter sprinter from 50 fucking years ago and putting them up against Usain Bolt in his prime. It doesn't make sense. It would have been a very simple fight for Alexander Usyk, that. I got Wilder beating Usyk. Did anyone watch Chisora Wilder? Do you remember how stiff and shocking Wilder's movement was in that fight? It worked because of the level they were both at, because of where Wilder's still horrible. He's terrible. He's so finished. He's in basically a Legends League of boxing on his own with Chisora right now. Usyk would box rings around him. Even now, it would be actually humiliating. So here we got a picture of Rico and Francis Ngannou, obviously. Someone saying that this weak-ass heavyweight division isn't boxing. Throw an MMA fighter in there with Tank, Inoue, or Terence Crawford, and we'll see what will happen. This is a great one for me to talk about, because what you're comparing there is normal human beings, right? This is no disrespect. Skill-wise, Tank Davis, Crawford, they're very skillful. They're normal, though. They're very normal humans. Francis Ngannou and Rico Verhoeven, they're not normal human beings. Do you understand? They're the alpha males. They're the apex predator. They're 6'5", shredded, your fast twitch fibers. They were given every genetic advantage humanly possible. One of their legs is the size of the guys that you're fucking quoting here, who are very skillful but are normal human beings. These are not normal men. They've got hands bigger than your fucking face. The reason they're able to jump into the sport of boxing is because at a heavyweight level, the athleticism and the raw power that these men possess is an equalizer in a way that you don't get at the lighter weights, because, no offense, they don't hit hard. They hit hard to each other. They don't hit hard compared to fucking heavyweights. And the average person who talks about heavyweight fighters like this, they don't have a fucking clue what heavyweight power is compared to normal human power is. Worlds apart. And you know what? For just one time, I'd like to see and put a heavyweight in there with a normal sized boxer and watch the fucking... Actually, no, we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that because that'll kill someone. Weight classes are there for a reason. Let's just leave it at that and stop talking nonsense. And another Inoue one here. Someone saying that Usyk is not pound for pound because Inoue just beat a pound for pound fighter and he's struggling with a kickboxer, basically. Here's the thing about pound for pound, and there's been loads of talk about this because everyone wants to say Usyk shouldn't be on there now. Pound for pound is an imaginary title that we think up and we go, if they were all the same size, this guy would be the best fighter because of the way he looks, the way he moves in the ring, looks more technical, looks better than these other guys. Here's the thing, right? Inoue is about 8 stone. He's 125 fucking pounds. If you then blew him up and made him 260 pounds, he wouldn't be able to do the things he can do, you fucking idiots. Do you know Alexander Usyk's been fighting men 60 fucking pounds heavier than him and beating the living daylights out of them? He's actually doing something that is pound for pound in that he's showing how good he is by beating men way bigger than him. Let's get Inoue in there with a man 60 pounds heavier than him. Let's see how the fuck that goes. Not well. There's my prediction. Considering this guy is a great fighter, unbelievably skilled fighter. I'm not saying he isn't, but he's fighting people who are smaller than I was when I was 12 years old. The way people talk about heavyweights, put some respect on their fucking name, because they'd kill all of you motherfuckers. Me included. I've met these guys. I'm a fucking massive bloke. I've stood in front of Francis Ngannou, Dubois, AJ. They're fucking giants, man. So shut the fuck up, you idiots. For Alexander Usyk to do what he did against these men is insane. And he just deserves the respect for it. All of a sudden now, oh, well, he struggled one fight. He's 39 years old. Who cares? He's shit. He is shit, is he? So I'll probably just wrap that there then. Usyk was never that good. One fight, ruined his whole career. Turns out everyone in the heavyweight division's actually shit because he's shit and he beat all of them and they're also shit. That's the truth. If you want to know what I think should happen next, I think Usyk should retire. If not, rematch Rico Verhoeven, then retire. These young cats, Caballel, Daniel Dubois, Moses Atoma, of course, they should all be fighting each other. Fabio Wardley, get them all in the ring with each other because this guy is the last generation and he did it all. And I don't know why he's still fighting if his daughter's in an underground bunker. What's going on, man? Obviously, I don't know what's going on, but as AJ once said, I know it's not nice. The point is, I hope everyone's all right. I hope everyone's okay. I never thought I'd get into this, but anyway. No doubt I'll have pissed a few off in the comments. I hope you've watched the fight against Sober before you start saying I'm talking shit, because I did go back and watch it, and I was surprised at the way I scored it because of the momentum shift that I felt during watching it when I was pissed off. But do let us know in the comments how you scored it. I appreciate it. We're all going to fucking disagree. That's part of the fun on the Pain Game. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and I'll catch you on the next one.